everybody, and welcome to Coopersville, Michigan, just outside of Grand Rapids, Michigan. My name is Josh the RV Nerd, and this is Bish's RV, and today we're going to take a deep dive into one of these Wildcats, and then I'm going to give you just a quick flyby of some of the other models that we have here. It's still amazing to me that I've been with Bish's now for about 6 months, and I'm still bringing, like, this is the first I've ever had a chance to record one of these videos to the channel. So today, looking at a Wildcat. This is a brand that has changed over the years, and I had to do a little bit of learning on them, and there's some things about them that I like, and there's some things about them that I kind of don't, and I'm going to point out both of those sets of things as we go today to give you a fair understanding of what you're looking at before you hand over your hard-earned cash. So this is a brand that currently, the easiest way I can say it by default, it's kind of built like a Cardinal. It's actually built out of one of Cardinal's old plants, including that sort of like armored paneled accessibility. They've done a neat thing with this mid-bunk that we're going to take a deep dive into today. In the pass-through compartment, sort of built a bit of a camp kitchen into it, but it has like a refrigerator and an icebox built in there. You've got a built-in beer cooler in this thing, or you could keep some bottles of water, maybe some Hug Juice barrels out there, or whatever drink you feel like keeping out there. I don't know. Heck, you could use it as a live well if you were fishing off the front of your campsite if you're right off next to a lake. That might leave some interesting smells in the RV, but it might also be kind of cool. Double power awning, so like they're doing the right features in the right places. They only use 15,000 BTU air conditioners, enclosed belly, heated belly, radiant barrier that goes all the way around the thing essentially. So they're doing all those big ticket, big hitter items. They're just kind of putting their own little twist on everything, you know, and I thought this floor plan specifically to go through would be a good one first because it'd give us some good comparisons. Like I said, I will chapter mark this video, so if you want to skip ahead later to check out just those quick flybys of the other ones, you'll have a chance to do that. And let me know as we go through this. This is our first Wildcat on this channel. What do you like? And what would you change given the opportunity? And if you appreciate the way that we show you the good with the bad, hit that subscribe button. Let's get started. Now, like, what kind of pecking order are we looking at here? That's sort of like when I start looking at a new brand that I haven't seen the first time, okay, you know what I mean. Regardless, it's hot, I'm dehydrated, my brain's not working with the words and the talking. The first time I see a new brand of RV, I start saying, okay, who else is similar to this? And maybe I'm wrong, but personally, I would very much stack this up against something in like the echelon of an Arctic Wolf, a Salem Hemisphere, a Wildwood Heritage Glen. Brands that, you know, they focus in on the big hitter features, but they don't add a lot of fluff stuff. Now, that sounds derogatory, but I think it's actually a fairly smart way of going due to the fact that what it lets you do is save a lot on the upfront price tag as compared to a ritzy glitzy glamping model, although this does touch on a lot of those things, you know. But, you know, if there's a couple little personalizations or add-ons you wanted to do, you'd be able to do those and typically overall still save a lot of money as compared to getting, by default, one of those ritzy glitzy varieties. So that's kind of my 2 cents on this one. Maybe I'm wrong. And as we go through this, I'd really love to hear sort of your opinion. Now this has a, it's like a very light sandy taupe sort of primary dominant color with some very, you know, we'll just call them black. I don't know if they're dark espresso, if that's light pollution, or if they are just straight flat black, you know, offset colors right here. I like the color palette overall. I could see some folks not liking this, but again, if you like this layout, but you don't like this color palette, I will leave you some links in the video description, or maybe you can find a different mid-bunk that might work for you. What I do like about this one is it does, you may have noticed in our flyby footage, you see that little middle bunk room den right there. We've got that upper bed loft, of course, which defines, you know, this is really a version of the default variant of mid-bunks, but it has a staircase like a Cedar Creek, but not at the price tag of a Cedar Creek, which, you know, that's one of the things I love about having so many different varieties of RVs out there. They all do that one or two special things that you're like, you know, man, I really liked that one feature I saw in that one RV, but maybe it didn't fit my budget. Well, that might be where this one comes in. So, literally choking on thin air. All of that established here, now that we've kind of had a good look around things, the RV has mostly breezed through windows. You might notice these big panoramic viewing windows. They'll give you awesome views of your destination, but the front face slide windows don't open for airflow. Everything else does. So as a little bit of an experiment, we might hear a little bit of road noise today because we are right up next to the road here, but any window that can open for airflow, I have opened it. And it is easily about 10 or 15 degrees cooler in here versus what it was. Maybe you would still be able to get a little bit better airflow with those open for air. I don't know. I do feel it's pretty decent. Now, we've got a cuddle compliant power theater recliner over here. This is something they do a lot in Wildcat. You might notice, though, it does have an open gap on either side of it. That's because it doesn't have that center console armrest wedged in the middle, so it takes up a little bit less space. In some Wildcat floor plans that we'll see in our later floor plan and a Flash Flybys, you'll see the same sofa. That does mean you have space over here for maybe like a Monopoly board or a TV tray or something, and the fact that that's a power theater recliner was actually a bit of a surprise. So now we've got a general lay of the land and an idea of what this one offers us. Let's open everything up starting right here, right about meow. Taking a look, you see you've got the nice blackout roll-down blinds, not like a zebra shade, not a pleated cloth blind. Again, that it does have that power theater recliner, but that is going to be 110 only. Now, if you're down with OCD, yeah, you know me, that sofa might be triggering you. Because it's nice that that's a bigger, like, three-seat adult-sized sofa, but it is set to the left on the rear wall right there, and I could see somebody kind of, like, having issues with that. Did you notice that cool flip-up TV storage? That is almost exactly how Open Range used to do hidden storage behind an entertainment center like that. I'm wondering if there's not somebody over at Wildcat that maybe used to work at Open Range and kind of brought that little feature along with them. This is also something like most of the Wildcats have a 10.7 cubic foot 12 volt DC compressor fridge. There's a couple of these bigger ones though, the big like triple slides and above. They have this larger, I'm eyeballing it, I'm going to say 14 to 15 cubic foot 12 volt compressor fridge. That's cool. That's a lot of fast cooling, travel-friendly storage. I'm gonna tell you though, something I didn't care for. Oh wow, look at that. How you doing? My reflection is. I need to lose some weight. You know, I was doing a good job this spring, and then I broke my routine, and then we went to Universal Studios, and I started eating everything, and I just haven't quit since. Regardless, Nutrisystem works when you follow it. This is our control panel for that fridge. Either I'm too stupid, and I am untrained on this fridge. I don't think there's a way to turn that off. So what I did to conserve some battery power today is I actually pulled the fuse on that sucker. That way, and thankfully the fuse box is nicely labeled. Now let's talk air conditioning. Anytime you see an air conditioner in a Wildcat, it's going to be a 15,000 BTU. This is 50 amp standard. By default, it is single air. I can't even fathom a time with 4 separate slides on this that a single air would be deemed sufficient. Thankfully, you're going to see that we do have this, I feel, properly outfitted with the dual air. And like I said, this is what I was talking about earlier. That sofa's offset. They put a bigger little side stand, you get the idea. I think there's like an electrical hookup or something hidden under that, which is probably why it's not symmetrical. The other thing is, it might have been intentional. Because remember how that TV flips up? Well, by default from the factory, the TV does not pivot. And I haven't tested this. But since the TV is really justified forward, if you're sitting on the sofa, and especially since they mounted the sofa further away from that sidewall, I think that you actually maintain a pretty good viewing angle from back here without needing a pivoting TV. That being said, I don't know that adding a pivot TV mount would be hard, nor do I think it would necessarily be a bad idea. Now, moving forward here, got that sliding privacy door with this mid-bunk. I will close the slides on this one later here so you can kind of see it in travel mode. With what I can tell you before we even get there, though, when the slides close, you're going to be able to get to the loft, the bathroom, and the front bedroom, and that's going to be it. I can say that with 100% confidence, just having seen a lot of RVs. Now, flipping all this down right here, you've got that, flip down top bunk. Obviously, you've got the jackknife scissors sofa bed down below. There is storage below that, and that's actually one of the things this bedroom does, I think, very, very well. It brings a lot of storage to the party. And actually, if you look down below here, if you're familiar with Wildwood RVs or Salem's that we bring on this channel all the time, they have those little, cube organizer jobs right there. That's the exact same thing below that big dresser cabinet. Now, if you do choose to utilize this as a bit of a second living room or entertainment center, you might notice on the right-hand side there, you do have some TV hookups and just a wide open wall space here for it. So out of the middle room, the bonus room, the den, the second living, the whatever you want to call it, the craft room, over here, right across from the entry door, you see this other big door. I thought that was going to be a door into the middle bunk room, but it's not. That is actually a closet, like a coat closet, right by the door right when you walk in. I thought that was really cool. I love a place to hang a jacket right when you walk in the door. That was a very pleasant surprise, as was this. I hadn't seen this floor plan previously, and yes, it needs cleaned. I understand the steps are dirty, apologies. But I've only ever seen Cedar Creek give us a staircase to a loft above a middle bunk bonus room den, whatever you want to call it right here. So that, to me, was a bit of an interesting find. I thought that was very cool. There's not a ladder that kind of hurts your feet to go up and down. And you can see it's got a good safety gate on it. And just in case you're kind of curious how much space is up there, as an adult, I fit. Rolling over was a bit of a trick. And if you're a dog having a bit of a bad dream, that might be sort of what that looks like up there. Now, right next door, moving over into the bathroom area, something that they do here is they give us a mirror on the wall. But it doesn't have any storage. So to offset that, they gave us full storage down below the sink. Does that work? Does that not work for you? I don't know. It works enough for me, at least. That is a porcelain foot flush stool, by the way. Notice how you don't have floor vents in here. That's something I haven't talked about. They're not doing any floor vents in these whenever they can possibly avoid them. Although the elbow room in this specific floor plan was a little bit tight. I think I could make it work. I also like when a manufacturer just very obviously gives us a nice place for, toilet paper like that, the butt napkin roller, as it were. A little towel linen storage space right there. It's not super deep, but I think it's deep enough. And before we get in the shower, we're going to look at like 4 different Wildcats today. This is the only one that I've seen with the bigger vent fan here in the bathroom. Now, again, I'm a little bit newer with this brand, so apologies. I will tell you if I don't know the answer. I won't make something up if I don't know the answer. While we're looking at my headroom sample right here, what I can tell you is either that vent fan is an optional item or it's something weirdly specific to this floor plan. I'm not exactly sure which that might be. And we've got Uncle Gary's shin shaving station over there. We could sit down in case you need to, park your booty when you're shaving your shins, as it were. Now, this is a sliding privacy door, but one thing I really appreciate that they added, especially if you feel like fighting that fitted sheet and expanding the family to utilize all the sleeping space in here, you can block that sliding door, which is something not every manufacturer does. You can also block the neighbors from looking at you in here because you have another one of those blackout roll down window shades. Now they're using a sealed edge press membrane countertop in here on these dresser tops, and I like this lower one. By dropping it down right there, it created space for that window here. It also created a spot where a clumsy oaf like me can sit down to put on his pants. Doesn't come by default with a bedroom TV, but one of the things that's kind of cool is it comes with a very obvious location for a bedroom TV, and it's quick release, but obviously you got to be a little stronger than me. Holy crap, that's really on there. Then again, I've got chicken arms, and regardless. You might notice how it's on a bit of an angle. The point is, when you have a TV on this, you have something more substantial to hold on to, and when you've got, forearms thicker than mine, because I live on a keyboard, you can pop this off here, and you could utilize that. You'll see all of these have an outside TV hookup as well. Pretty much completely failed to demonstrate that the way that I would like to. But hey, we're doing it live, and obviously if I goof stupid something up, I don't edit my videos. I mentioned again, these are standard single air, all second air ready on something this size. I just can't imagine not putting the big air in that. And if I'm wrong, if for some reason there's a reason you wouldn't, leave me a comment, let me know. Now, you've got a choice between a 60 by 80 queen bed or a 70 by 80 king. We're seeing a king today. The queen will give you a little bit more room around. I wanted to slowly snake around this corner, though. It's not really deep. Maybe that would be a handy little, actually, with that little lip on there, that might be a decent little phone shelf or something like that. Now, they call these the C-Cats, and they call it like phone charging CPAP stand. That feels a little too small to be a CPAP stand to me. And what is up with this bedspread? Oh, I see what's wrong with it. Can anybody tell me what's wrong with the bedspread? Leave me a little comment. Let's see if you can detect that. Took me a minute. I'm looking at it like something is off, and then I finally figured it out. Well, anyway, let's just pick that up and get that out of the way. Let's look at the storage chest under the bed. Now, when we're up in this front closet, I want you to know I flipped into wide angle mode so that you can see it's actually prepped and ready for a side-by-side washer and dryer. Not a combo washer and dryer. To give you a more real world understanding of the space that's in there, I did park myself next to that washer hookup just to kind of give you a clearer idea. And actually, I tell you what, if I sit on the bed here and we look up toward the headboard of the bed, if you're laying down at night, this is what you might see right there. And the road mode on this one is going to be short and sweet. I think you're going to get the idea. You can get to the front bedroom, you can get to the bathroom, you can get to the loft, you can get to that closet. And that is it. Unless you open that door side super slide, you're done, son. All right, so again, just a quick reminder, we've been taking a deep dive into this mid-bunk Wildcat, but they make plenty of different floor plans. I have a nice little selection on hand here for you. At the end of this video, at the end of the full exterior walkthrough of this Wildcat, I'm going to give you some fast flybys of those other models, just to kind of give you an idea what else might be out there. Like maybe you're like, I like Wildcat, but I don't need a mid-bunk. What else you got? Okay, we'll take a look at some of that. First, though, let's actually take a dive down here. Let's get some bad news out of the way. This has kind of a forward bathroom and then a middle kitchen. And so you've got a bathroom black and gray on the left, and then you've got a kitchen gray tank only on the right. So unfortunately, it is a split hookup, and it is located directly under the mid-bunk slide. Again, I hope you appreciate the fact that I'm willing to point out things that you might not like. I don't know if they couldn't pipe these things together or if they didn't try. Respectfully, I feel this is a miss if it was potentially avoidable. I know some other mid-bunk builders have avoided that, but something they did down here that I love is that kind of sectionalized armored drop panel accessibility material here. I mentioned how this is built out of one of the old Cardinal plants. Cardinal was one of the very first users of this, Cardinal and Cedar Creek actually, and it is since really finding popularity among a lot of Forest River brands. Now, the underbelly is enclosed. It also has 12-volt tank heaters down there, radiant barrier layering. I don't know if this is what is going to qualify as what people call, quote, 4 seasons, however, because Wildcat hasn't actually tested it. But what I respect is the fact that they're not over-promising and under-delivering because they haven't actually done the testing. They're saying, hey, we haven't done the testing. We don't know if it is, quote, 4 seasons or not. So they call it an extended season camper. But frankly, unless the snowflakes are flying and it's hard freezing, you're going to be fine. Trying to do a better job of showcasing the front compartment on these things lately here. Had some requests for that. Doing my best. Thank you, by the way. If there's something I'm not doing for you, I know my videos run long and I'm trying to do my best, but if there's something you need to see that I'm consistently not showcasing, please tell me. Now, this is kind of cool. The battery boxes are actually kind of recessed. So what that means is they're, it's just a little bit easier to get in and out of here. You don't have to lift the battery up to your face to set it down into that box. It's just more accessible. And did you notice that that is set for dual batteries? That is kind of cool. And keep in mind, a lot of this information that I'm sharing will apply to any of the Wildcats that you're going to see. Very little of the outside stuff is really going to be floor plan specific. I love what they did over here. This, to me, is very cool. In the pass-through compartment, and we've got some wicked shadows going on here, so apologies. You notice how this front pass-through isn't exceptionally large. That might be one of its little Achilles heels here. But you've got your mini fridge kind of, inside of this compartment here where it's hidden away from the sun and it's not going to have to fight the sunshine to keep your drinks cold. Now, just to give you a little bit better look at that, it's just one of those conventional dorm-style fridges that you find in the RV industry. But right down here, this is maybe my favorite thing on this RV, just because I don't see it all the time. I like to see new original ideas. Instead of just a drop-down wasted bucket space, there's actually a friction hinge on this, so it's not hard to get into. And it is an ABS molded tub, basically, with a drain. So let's say you're having a little outdoor picnic party. You could load that sucker up with ice baby, and you could have yourself an outdoor cooler and a fridge right there. So, if you need a couple drinks outside, you got it. If you need a couple more drinks, you have space for that. And then when the ice melts, you just drain it out. And it's just clean, fresh water. It shouldn't be too much of an issue if you let that drain out. Always check with your local park, though, to make sure they're cool with that. You might have noticed the forward front power awning. You may notice over here on the face of the slide out, you have another one of those. Now, they kind of do a similar thing here to what you see in, say, like Wildwood or Vibe travel trailers. You may have noticed how those big panoramic windows don't open for airflow, but the slide side windows open for airflow. A lot of people who have bought the campers that we offer that have this setup have said, you know what, it works just fine. Visually, looking at it with my history in the RV business, it feels like, why don't all the windows open for airflow? But again, actual owners are saying, you know what, it actually works just perfectly fine. But that's, you know, what do you guys think? Like, do you like that? Do you not like it? I don't know. I don't care. I'm just trying to represent this to you. We got TV hookups out here. The speakers are nice and down low. I like that. And I think that this back here off the face of the slide would be a good spot for your picnic table. I think it's cool that they include for us the outside griddle. However, they put the rail mount right down here next to the skirt line, which means this pushes against the skirting, which doesn't have quite enough support to keep the griddle on a flat, level plane. So that's one of those things that, again, conceptually, love it. Execution, it's not my favorite thing I've ever seen. So you might actually want to, like, you can use the gas grill hookup on this RV, but to use that griddle so that everything doesn't slide off of it, you may want to put it on a little table beside this. I hate that I had to share that with you, but again, I hope you appreciate that. I won't lie to you, and I won't lie by omission. I could have just not hooked that griddle up, and you probably wouldn't have known the difference, and then you'd been real disappointed when you took it home. I'm not going to do that. 300-pound accessory receiver hitch on the back here, 4-point automatic leveling, and it's got a full walk-on roof, but they don't give us a way to get there. The good news, we can kind of make that not your problem. When you purchase from Bish's RV, you automatically become a member of our Diamond Club. Part of that is for the lifetime that you own this RV, we can perform an annual inspection for you at no cost. So if you want us to climb up on the roof to check out those seals before you put it away for the winter, or if you bring it out in the spring, that's something you can call, you can schedule with us, and we can do a look at it so that you don't have to. And we have it in a shop environment where it's a little more controlled, a little more safe. So if that's beneficial for you, hit that like button. Hope you appreciate that. I've got a separate video on Diamond Club benefits, by the way, you may find useful and informational. Now, that being said, we've kind of gotten a look at one of these. We understand what a Wildcat is now. I'm going to make a fast run through several other floor plans, whatever I have available here. And again, I'll chapter mark this video in case you ever want to jump around and check these things out. We're going to begin today with the 333. This is that very straightforward, like triple slide, no bunk model. Basically the mid bunk that we just looked at without the mid bunk in it, where you've got, a big super slide over here on the door side with all kinds of door side windows. You may notice the same double power awning action going on. And in that compartment right there, you have that same little Cool Cat built-in cooler with outside fridge situation. And by the way, let me know what you think of these like multi-unit fast flash reviews that I've been doing here, where I give you kind of a deep dive into the brand as a whole, give you a really deep dive into one of these so you really understand what you're looking at, and then kind of go over multiple RVs in rapid fire after. This is something that's a little new. It's something that I haven't done a lot of before, but unfortunately, I'm not able to cover every single RV that Bish's RV carries. So I'm trying to find ways that I can bring as much coverage to as many models out there as I possibly can. Let me know what you think about this format. And again, remember, I have chapter marked this, so if you don't care about this stuff, you can just jump right past it. You can just look at the track bar on the video, and it'll easily tell you what you're looking at. Also, as we go through these multiple units today, let me know if there's one you're like, ooh, I really like that, and I would like it if you could try to add that to your hit list. So you could do, maybe I could do a little more in-depth video review on one or two specific units. Like I said, I'll do my best to fulfill as many as I possibly can. So again, down here, this one specifically, it's really essentially just the mid-bunk model that we just looked at with the middle room torn right out of it. You see almost the exact same, living situation right here. And, you know, when you've done your due diligence and it's time to do your duty and you're back up here in the bathroom, you've got yourself a pretty solid place to do it. Thankfully, the shower pan, again, recessed into the shower floor so that you have a good amount of headroom in there. And this one does feature just a mirror on the wall, not a Lipitor storage galorage. So the under cabinet or under counter cabinet space is going to be very useful to you in here. And remember, up in the bedroom, you've got that optional second air conditioner right there, but when it is applied, it'll be a 15,000, and again, king or queen bed. So if you prefer a little bit more room to walk around it, you can do that. It is, again, I'm still kind of liking these sealed edge dresser tops that we have here. And this lower space where you can sit down to put on pants, to get them on your feet so you don't got to do the flamingo one leg dance and fall down and smack your face. Not saying I've done it, just saying I've done it. And next up in our little tour de force here is one that really sticks out like a sore thumb with that front windshield, the Wildcat 302 bunkhouse. This is a private rear L bunk, but what they've done on this one is a little bit different from, say, like the Rockwood or the Grand Design reflection versions of a floor plan like this I've seen. So that front windshield right there, what that's telling me by default, and I've not even yet technically stepped into the bedroom of this. I poked my head inside to see what the general layout was. Front windshield means this is going to have a north-south queen bed, not an east-west bed slide, but that windshield overlook is going to make it look and feel nice and big. The thing is, though, this little cool cat thing they do where they put that fridge and that ice box in that pass-through, and the fact that they include that, griddle separately that can mount right there, right next to one of my favorite features, an inside-outside trash can. What that fridge and griddle situation means is that anytime somebody's looked at a version of this from another manufacturer and said, can't I get it without a camp kitchen, no longer has to ask that question, because this RV just doesn't have a camp kitchen buried under the bunks. So you're maintaining that storage space, which I think is kind of cool. What else I think is kind of cool, and actually the more that I looked at this one, the more it's kind of growing on me, it has a feature that I really enjoy. You've got a bunkhouse cargo loading door. So if you have folding e-bikes or the kids have bikes or you just have lots of totes and lots of kids stuff, dog kennels, this could be an awesome little, like if you're like, listen, I'm looking for something with dog crates because I do dog showing. This is something that just might work for you, and especially considering this has stairs, not a ladder, makes it far easier and safer going up and down. This is a cool arrangement. Now, I realized that I actually initially referred to this as a private L bunk. This is, obviously it's not. This is a variation of that floor plan with a double over double instead of the L bunk. So I'd be kind of curious to know which one do you like better. You see they did a good job of giving us outlets for each. Again, the staircase for easy access. Some decent storage back here for the kids and or guests. And that's the thing. Oh, look at this smart. They put this over here by the stairs where you can sort of get to it so that you don't necessarily need to be super tall like me. We've got TV hookups over here, by the way, which is kind of nice. Gonna spin you around real slowly here. I don't know. What do you think about this as compared to the L bunk arrangement that you find from a lot of other builders? Now, this is where I'm saying it's a little bit tricky for me. The dinette is in the slide because it's harder to put a dinette. You have to build a tiny dinette to try to build it on that forward wall over there. So what it means to me is that it ends up with a little bit of an interesting entertainment center right here. Now, thankfully, one of the nice things that they did is they made the TV able to pivot around. So it doesn't really matter exactly where you're sitting. You can move that TV so that you can see it. But where this one really shines is the kitchen storage. A lot of bunkhouses, the kitchen often gets really pinched trying to make room for everything. And that L-style peninsula countertop, it creates good functional space for drawers. And because the TV's up high enough, I think that this really functions as a good serving space. Like, you can set stuff out there when it's ready to go. And, when everyone's getting up and making their plate, it doesn't really matter if someone's standing in front of the TV. After that, everyone's kind of got their food and they're sitting down, and it feels like everybody is out of everyone else's way. And again, this is something Wildcat's done for years. That little drop-down access, I'm going to point you slowly straight down. Don't want you to get sick again. drop-down access to the wastebasket right there. Now, that looks like it's a big drop if you put something in, and certainly it is. But remember that that is a small wastebasket. If you wanted to get a bigger one so it's not quite so severe of a drop where you're like, oh, crap, I missed it again. You know, if you're like, Kobe, and then you miss, it ain't quite so big of a deal. Now, once again, moving upstairs, as I predicted, we've got a 60 by 80 true queen north-south easy walk-around bed. And notice there's no ankle breaker step of death around this thing. I'm really glad the RV industry has largely cracked that code and pretty much gotten rid of those. Awesome, you know, side headboard space right there. If you feel claustrophobic in an RV, this is a bedroom I think you're going to enjoy a great deal. You still have the option of outfitting that second 15,000 BTU air here. Again, by default, that's not there, so that's an optional item that we've added to this. But because you have that front windshield and you've got those side hanging cabinets, you don't have closet storage. That's what's going to be located over here in the slide out. Sweet dresser drawer space down there. If I back up a little bit, you may notice how that slide actually passes through into the bathroom over here. It's a bedroom-bathroom combo storage slide, which is very good because if it wasn't that, that would mean that in this bathroom you pretty much have no space for, you know, towels or anything like that. So that's, to me, a very welcome feature. Now, this upper deck design is also something that's intended to keep the RV shorter, lighter, and less expensive overall. And our final flyby for the day here is the Wildcat 260, which I'm pretty sure was probably named after the Grand Design Reflection 260, since it's essentially the Wildcat version of that floor plan. Cougar also makes an awesome version of this layout right here. This is a rear U-dinette with a side theater seat facing the entertainment center, but you notice that campside slide. That's going to be a love it or hate it kind of thing, because that's going to give you that good closet space, just like we saw in the last RV up front, but with a slide over here on the door side. And if you're, I'd say if you're over 5 foot tall, it might pose a little bit of a head bumper risk. You're going to want to get some of those little pool noodle, you know, attachments that you kind of hook on the side over here, just to help soften the blow if you do happen to back up and bonk into that thing, which I have certainly done in my lifetime in my career. Once again, we got that awesome L-shaped counter inside with that inside-outside sort of wastebasket situation. Again, the TV hookup still, even though this is a short RV, still has that 4-point automatic leveling. Receiver hitch on the back, you know, the tank heaters, the radiant package, all that stuff that we've seen and learned about on these other Wildcats, it all still applies. And I've just about fell down into a ditch. Now, I mentioned again how this compares in layout to something like a Grand Design Reflection 260, a Cougar 25 RDS. These are all going to be that rear dinette situation where they did this one a little different. Again, they stayed a little more budget friendly, so it doesn't maybe necessarily have all the exact same widgets and whiz bangs as those other two, but it's also more affordable. So maybe if you're not looking for a full-time camp situation, you're like, listen, I'm gonna be a little more casual. This might work for you. They stuck with their normal like 7-foot U-dinette instead of making an 8-foot mega dinette exclusively for this floor plan. It doesn't really bother me though, because it creates that big extra chunk of storage over there right by the door, which is extremely handy. One of the only downsides to this floor plan, it's got awesome window coverage, but all the windows are pretty much over on the driver's side of the RV. They're not on the camp door side. Again, they use a little bit smaller theater love seat, but that does create room for that little side stand over there, and it kind of creates some pocket space if you wanted to bring like a TV tray with you or anything like that. Working our way around here, like the other models that are similar to this, where it really shines is once again, similar to that L-shaped bunk kitchen, this thing has a lot of kitchen storage space, which is really kind of cool. I mean, tell me when more storage is ever the wrong answer, and I don't tend to argue with customers or viewers, but if you want to say that more storage is the wrong answer, I might actually respectfully disagree. Now, you're going to ask, you might ask, I don't know. The other one had a north-south queen bed with a front windshield. This has a north-south queen bed. Why doesn't it have the front windshield? And the answer to that is I don't know. I really don't know. I'm kind of surprised at how they're doing it on one and not the other. Now, remember I've been saying how these are 50 amp. So this is an example of one, or rather they're second air ready. So this is an example of one right here that only has the single factory standard air set up. Now we are over here on the driver's side of the RV. In these little quick flybys, I haven't, been closing the slides here. What I can tell you on this one, without a doubt, is that when the slide is closed, you will lose access to the upper deck bedroom and bathroom. You absolutely have to open the slides to get up here. Even though I'm going fast, I still want you to know some really important factors like that. So, whew, that's like playing soccer. That was another one of those long endurance matches, and I know my videos run long, but if you appreciate how we really dive into this information to give you a deeper understanding of these things, again, before you hand over your money, before you even need to pick up the phone, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to know what one of these things costs before you pick up the phone, check the link in the video description. I always put those there so that you can always see current pricing and availability at any of our stores wherever we happen to have a Wildcat parked. So until next time, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.